office that you know about some of these equipments as the then AG follow in terms of what we need. I think we can progress with other questions. Yesterday in your submissions, Honorable Tambadou, you talked about fourth foundation. Can you deliberate more on this foundation? What engagement have they made with the government? Where does it actually initiated? And if really at any point government was also documenting the engagements they were having with this foundation?
The Ford Foundation is a very well-known foundation based in the United States. And they do a lot of support work to governments and non-governmental organizations, or through non-governmental organizations. So they are quite well known. At the time that they visited the country was awash with foreign visitors, international organizations, governments, foreign parliaments, international non-governmental organizations. There were a lot of visitors to the country at that time. I guess, as they say, we were buzzing around the world. And so the Ford Foundation was one such international organization that came to the Gambia. I believe they went to the Jammeh Commission to observe what the Jammeh Commission was doing and interacted with them. I do not have a lot of information about that interaction, but I can tell you when they came to see me what our interactions were. They conveyed to me their impressions of our transitional justice process, starting with the Jammeh Commission, and how impressed they were with the setup and the structure, and that they even said they were considering encouraging other countries in the sub-region to emulate the structures that we have established in the Jammeh Commission. And that's why I kept telling Council Dibba that while the rest of the world is proud of what we are achieving here, we are here downplaying that and without attaching any yardstick to it. But at least those who are experienced in these kind of processes were very impressed with what we had. But as far as I was concerned, they came and we had that exchange. But like I did at every opportunity in those days, I was seeking help. So I took them around to a part of the ministry that I thought also needed desperate help, which was the Registrar General's office, where we have the deeds register of lands, etc. Because in my earlier tours at the ministry, when I visited the deeds, the office where the deeds register was, I saw that, you know, there are piles of these huge ledgers dating back perhaps to the 60s and 70s, where information was manually stored by handwritten, in a handwritten form. And some of them, because of, unfortunately, because of rains sometimes with leaking roofs, some of the papers were almost fading by virtue of time, but others were fading because they were affected by water, etc., and the inks were fading. And I was worried because I know the potential trouble that we will be here insofar as land management and registration is concerned if that data is lost in that registry. So I took them around and showed them with their naked eyes so that they see what the challenges was, and I subsequently made a request for them to provide us with support to digitize the lands register in the country. And they were very open to the idea because they saw the need for something like that. So as far as I was concerned, that was the extent of my engagement with the Ford Foundation. I took them around and requested support from them.
Do they offer any technical or financial support to the ministry specifically?
Not to the ministry, not at that point, no.
To your knowledge, to the commission?
I do not know if they offered any kind of support to the commission.
Okay, because you did not know?
No.
Okay. Because what I saw on their website, they have offered the Gambia $125,000 to support the commission.
Again, it shows how
yes, and also one of the witnesses who were here said they supported in offering forensic audit. And it will also interest me to know if in a situation they have conducted any forensic audit, if that was to your knowledge.
That information that you're sharing with me, Council, shows a number of things.
Honorable.
Honorable, shows a number of things. It illustrates that the commission was acting in full independence of the ministry, that we were not involved in what the commission was engaged in with third parties. That's first. And second, when these organizations mention amounts of money as support to entities, it doesn't mean they gave cash. The support can be in different forms. So for example, if they send personnel to come and...
Should we not preempt that?
Sorry?
I said, should we not preempt that? I don't just want us to preempt maybe what the support was directed to, since you said you are not privileged to the information. Because yes, maybe either the commissioners or the late council or members of the commission, you know, should be in a position to give us an answer. And you might actually prepare their mind in terms of the submission you might actually make here.
Okay, well, I'm sure members of the commission and council would be better placed to explain this. I would just wanted to, again, these processes are meant to also educate the public about some of these things. And so I wanted to take the opportunity to explain that when monies are mentioned as part of support, it doesn't necessarily mean that cash is given. In fact, that's the exception. What is the norm is that the support is provided in the form of technical assistance, a sector, and then they take the sum total of that technical assistance and present it as the amount of money that was provided as support. But it comes in the form of technical assistance, etc. So I'd be very surprised if the cash was given to the commission. Knowing organizations like the Ford Foundation, they don't operate that way. So it must have been through technical assistance.
Let's come to the appointment of Alpha Capital. How will you regard Alpha's appointment?
How will I regard that?
Yes, either, let's say, as an individual or as a corporate entity in between these two lines.
All of my appointments and engagements were done in individual capacities, just like I did with Augustus Prom. I also did with Alpha Barry in their individual capacity.
But now, why is it that on the communications that are sent to these individuals, instead of addressing it to them as individuals, these communications are addressed to them as a corporate body?
It was Alpha Barry who advised us to put Alpha Capital as the other party in the engagement letter with them, but it's certainly Alpha Barry that we engage.
Alpha advised you to put Alpha Capital on the engagement letters, you said?
Yes, it was his suggestion.
Was it not supposed to be your responsibility to advise Alpha on legal issues instead of him advising you?
We didn't see any. If there was a legal issue, we would have, but we didn't see any issue. The ownership of Alpha Capital, if it's Alpha Barry who has 99.9%, it's in law, counsel. That's not your field. I don't have to get technical.
Yeah, I will indulge for you to help me there. But before you help me on that point, what does the law say on the Companies Act, the 2013 Act?
About what?
About appointing a receiver.
But you see, counsel, that's a very open-ended question. The Companies Act is this big, and I want you to be specific in terms of what you mean.
Yeah, because for me, the law is in disagreement to appoint a receiver at a state of a corporate entity.
But we didn't appoint a corporation. We appointed Alpha Barry. I just answered your question.
But your communications are directed to a corporation, not to an individual.
I'm not sure even Alpha Capital is a corporation. So you're getting into very slippery waters here.
Alpha is
that's why I said
he is registered as a business.
You said corporation. So
I just said a corporate entity. What I meant about a corporate entity here is a legal business entity, because for me, any registered enterprise or entity with the state, I can refer to it as a corporate body. That is just.
That's why I said the Companies Act is this big. It's not as simple as you make it. But in any event, for your question, Alpha Boy was appointed as an individual, just like I appointed Augustus Pom, just like I appointed Ami Bensouda. I think we have all seen the communications coming from Ami Bensouda with the letterhead of her office. I mean, people work in a certain manner. I don't have issues with that, so long as there is clear understanding that the assignment was given to the individual, and that suffices for me.
Honorable TAMBADOU, I will leave the issue of Alpha Barry's appointment. Maybe the council will take that up later with you.